Hey everybody, welcome to this knockout analysis that happened at UFC 254, Khabib versus Gaethje, and that's Alexander Volkov fighting Walt Harris, and he knocked him out with that beautiful kick to the body followed up by some punches. So really quick overview, and then we get to some details that I think some people are missing. So we're going to see a feint by Harris with the head and with the lead leg, and now Volkov is going to step through and land the kick. So watch for the feint from upper body and lower body at the same time. So you're going to see the feint here. The leg is going to come up first, right leg comes up from Harris, and then he's going to add a head movement to it. Here you see it here, right? So leg comes up and then the head movement. Volkov has none of it. He's not impressed. Harris is going to stomp down on that lead foot and try to backpedal, but he's too late. Volkov is already throwing that kick, and he's going to land it. Boom. Here he makes impact, and then he's going to follow up. So impact lands, and I want you to watch Harris's face, poor guy. All right, so we're going to go here, and here you can see how much he's in pain. Volkov notices what's going on. He's going to come forward. He's going to launch that big right hand here. It's not that powerful, but doesn't matter. He just needs to add pressure. Now I want you to look what's going on with the upper back of Harris. And you'll see that Volkov puts his left hand here on top of it. So that makes it more difficult for Harris to rotate into a counter strike or do anything. So I'm going to go slow so you can see it. Watch that left hand of Volkov here, controlling the upper back. Now he doesn't have a grip or anything. It doesn't matter. All he needs to do is put some pressure, and then Harris will be driven more into the fence, and that buys him time to throw that right hand over and over, which is what happens here. Right hand lands. Check the left hand. It's going to come down again. Here, controlling the upper body, launching a few strikes, and the ref steps in, and that's all she wrote. So that's the whole sequence. Now let's take a quick look back at the details. And like I mentioned, I think a bunch of people are missing it. They're looking at the feint, and I hear a lot of people commenting that Volkov reacted to it. He doesn't. But you have to look at it real slow. So I want you to watch the leg and the head here, but at the same time watch Volkov's lead leg. See how these three relate to each other timing-wise. You'll see that the lead leg of Volkov moves first. So I'm going to go back. See, this is the lowest part that he has. So he's got his left foot on the ground. You'll see that nothing happens here. No feint from Harris, while Volkov is then going to pick up that left leg. So watch that left leg. See what happens. See, it's already moving. It's up. It's up. It's up. It's only when his knee is over here, already raising, the step has started, that Harris is going to pick up that left foot, the right foot of his own, sorry. So here he starts to feint. Watch that left leg of Volkov. It's still moving. The head movement is going to follow. Watch that left leg here of Volkov. I'll get rid of the arrow so you can see. It's already coming down. So Volkov's foot is coming down. You can see it here. He's coming down with his left foot, putting it back on the floor as Harris does the head feint part of his whole technique, right? So that means that Volkov has not had the time to react to the head feint because it only just finished. At this stage, this is where it finishes. Already he has stepped forward. What does that mean? It means that he decided to throw that kick to the body, and he just stepped forward and launched it and ignored the feint that Harris was doing. So that's the key part that I'm seeing that a lot of people are missing. He didn't react to it. It just went straight forward into the kick. Unfortunately, Harris is a little bit behind on the timing here, and he's going to pay dearly for it. So moving on to the kick now. So I want you to watch the upper leg of Volkov first. So this is about the point where he has maximum flexion in the knee. So the knee is pretty much fully bent at this stage. But also the upper leg is pointing straight forward. Typically when you have more of a Muay Thai style push kick, what you'll see is that the knee is a little bit higher as you bring the foot upwards. And now what happens then is that as you extend the lower leg, what you'll do is drive your hips forward, and that will then straighten out the knee forward as well. So you have more of a straight line like this. This is not what's happening. That's why I think it's more of a snap kick. And a snap kick is different than a push kick in that the push kick is usually going straight forward in a straight line. Whereas with the snap kick, it is a circular path. It's a semicircle that's going to circle upwards. And that's what's happening here. How can you see that? Well, check the upper leg here of Volkov, and it's going to come to around this angle. That's going to be the highest that it's going to go. So from here, this is pretty much the highest that it goes. And here, the lower leg is already starting that circular trajectory upwards. So notice again, the knee stops rising, and then he's going to extend that foot upwards. So it's a semicircular path into the kick, right? Now I'm going to blow this up a little bit so you can see it a little bit better, because poor Harris. This is the impact. Now I want you to focus on this part right here. Okay, and I want you to take a look at what his gut looks like before the impact. Right here, looks normal. Notice how it indents. It just is pushed inward. It's driven inward, right? You can see that very clearly here, that it just creates this big hole almost for a fraction of a second into his upper body. Now, why is that so important? Because right here is where your diaphragm is located. That's an organ that you need to breathe, but also it is connected to a bunch of organs and nervous functions and so on. It gets really complex, but I'll keep it simple. What that means is that when you get hit like that, and especially in that upward trajectory, which is going to crush the diaphragm a little bit more into your own body, it sends out signals to your brain like, dude, we're shutting down. The organs are shutting down. At the same time, it's going to be almost impossible to focus, because this is not the same thing as when somebody punches you in the face. It has nothing to do with that. It's just your vital functions are saying like, you know what, guys, we are quitting for a few seconds. And what's more is that Volkov is, I mean, his entire leg is just driving into the target. So that's a really powerful kick to boot. And he's a heavy guy, so they don't kick light. There's a lot of power going into that kick. As a result, here the diaphragm is crushed, and I want you to watch now, and I'll bring it a little bit down so you guys can see better. The expression on Harris's face, again, notice this is like a second or so after the kick lands. You can see that this is where his brain is going to signal like, oh crap, that's it, I'm going down, and you're out of the fight. You can look at it, it's very similar to when somebody hits the liver, which is what happens when you get hit over here, more on the right side, is then you see guys just drop to the floor, unable to breathe and so on. Diaphragm is in my opinion, actually worse. Been hit there a bunch of times over the years, and it's worse because you literally cannot breathe. It's just, it's the diaphragm itself spasms and it's not working, and you can try to breathe and nothing happens. Feels like you're dying. So Harris is a tough guy. He tries to, you know, keep going, but it doesn't help. He's taken out. So that's the main thing. That's what I wanted to say. There won't be an additional bonus video on this on Patreon about Patreon on this fight here, because I think it's pretty straightforward. Just a beautiful kick, well timed by Volkov, and poor Harris was on the receiving end. I've got other stuff on Patreon, but I'll be for next time. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. Keep on training.